All right. The format for this meeting is a 10-minute speaker, our secretary's announcements, a coffee and snack break, and our main speaker. Our first speaker for tonight is Alex.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm an alcoholic. Can you hear me okay? Does this thing work? Okay. Thank you for asking me to speak 5 seconds ago. Bear with me. I'm very grateful to be here. I'm a very grateful alcoholic. Welcome to the newcomers, and I really appreciate all the family that came out to support their loved ones. If you are here with one of your loved ones, give them a hug when you leave today, because I truly feel like we're lucky when we have that support. I don't really think, I never went to meetings with my family. I'll just put it that way. And if you can understand this disease a little bit better, I think that if you're coming from an outsider's point of view, you'll have a lot more compassion for people who have what we have. I'm a believer that if you are sitting in this room and you are sober, we do have that choice to pick up right now. But the difference between us and a normal person is that once we do pick up, we lose that choice. Anyway, I am born and raised in Las Vegas, Nevada. I wasn't born in a hotel. I came out okay. I was raised pretty fast. I went to nightclubs when I was like 15 years old and snuck out. And I mean, I was a pretty bad kid, but I did get into college. I went to USC. I somehow graduated from there too. And from USC, I did what everyone I knew was doing, and we all moved to Manhattan Beach. And so, and as you can imagine, it was a good party. I'll say that much. I had a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. I had a really, really, really good time, but I was always the last person to leave the party. I was always taking it to the next level. I never wanted to stop. There was definitely a difference between me and my peers, and I noticed that from a young age. I also notice now, too, that I've graduated from college. It's been some time, that a lot of the people who I went to school with, and we'd stay up all these nights, and, the sun would come up, and we'd see these people jogging down these streets, these other students, and be like, oh, look at that asshole, Like, what is he doing? Like, and like, he's the weird one, and I've realized through the years that like that's not true. Like, people do study and go to sleep at normal hours. And I also noticed too, now that I look back, like all those people that I was really good friends with, half of them are sober, like really sober, and have some good time and are very successful. And the other half are not so much, but excuse me. Oh, I left my phone. I wanted to read something off of there, but that's okay. I've been in and out of this program, and I have a good chunk of time right now. I'm trying not to look at this by time, but I had about a year and a half, and I went out and drank for one night. And so since that one night, I have about 5.5 months now. So I'm really proud to have that back. Thank you. Thank you. And I will say I did not come back into the rooms with the gift of desperation that I wish that I had after that one night, but I did hit an emotional bottom that was so hard, because that was the most time I had had since I was probably like in 8th grade of being sober, a year and a half. That was a long time for me. And but during that time, I learned a lot of tools, and I built a fellowship around me that, of people who I became closer with than I am with the friends I've had from college for, so many years. And I'm still very close with those people to this day. Let's see, where am I going with this? I guess I could talk about Fellowship, that's what I'll talk about. Sorry, I didn't know what I was going to say when I got up there. I'm kind of just winging it. Okay. So, oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you very much. I have a really hard time being around normal people. Like, I cannot go to parties. I cannot be around alcohol. And I made the mistake in this relapse of convincing myself that I could be normal for one night. And yeah, exactly. Hilarious, right? Like, we know where this goes. And luckily, I was able to get out of it before it got worse. And I hit this emotional bottom where I was so depressed that I had lost that time, even though I've realized that, you know, all we really have is today, and I try and focus on that every single day. But I had people like accusing me that I wasn't sober when I was sober. I kind of found out who my real friends were, and they really rallied around me. That's what I've learned from this program, is that you meet people who truly care and truly understand you. And I hope everybody can find that. So my friends rallied around me. I was really depressed. I kept going back to meetings, even though all I wanted to do was run for the door. I mean, but I was also so depressed. I knew that if drinking would only make me feel more depressed. So I kind of just stuck it out, and I kept going to meetings, and I raised my hand as a newcomer, and every time I did that, I felt like I was getting punched in the gut when someone was like, welcome. Like, I was like, I never left. Like, I was here yesterday. Like, but my recipe, really the top thing is like, who is in my front row, you know, and who is it that's cheering me on? Who are those people that I am letting have my life and my time? And sometimes that has to exclude family. Like, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes, like, I pick up the phone and the first thing I want to do is drink when I talk to my mom. Like, and she's a lovely human being, but, like, she can push my buttons, and she knows how to do that, and she gets me going. And there's other people in my family, too, that are like that. And I've learned... The biggest thing I've learned is cutting out some of these people doesn't mean forever. It's a season, right? All of this is a season. You know, doing what's best for me right now may be hurting other people, and that's fine. Not going to parties, missing birthday parties, like kids' parties. Like, I could give a shit about that stuff. You know, it's like I'm important. Like, my sobriety is number one, first and foremost. Anyway, I hope you guys got something from that. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Okay. Now I'm going to lead us in the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. All right, now our main speaker will share their experience, strength, and hope with us. Please join me in welcoming Danny from Carson.
Lower your expectations. Hi, I'm Danny, and I'm an alcoholic. Whew. Anybody here ever been on a 5150? These lights, man, bring it all back to me. Like, have you ever been in a cell in the county jail or a 5150 on an involuntary hold? First thing you see when you realize where you are is that. But we're not there tonight. What a great night, you know? I look at all these empty chairs, man, and I think about all the people that can't make it to this meeting, you know, and how lucky we are. Oh, look at that. I can see myself on Zoom. Wow, just what I need to see. A little view of myself. Anyway, just settling in. Oh, here's something none of us have ever said. No, thank you. I've had enough. I never said. Did you ever say that, Joe? Never. No. But there might be a few normies amongst us tonight. Very nice job, Alex, on the talk. You mentioned the normal drinkers. There's nothing stranger than a person that'll walk away from a perfectly good drink. You know, it could be the sobriety test from the cops. They can say, "All right, get out of the car, and say unfinished drink 3 times real fast." I've never had one. I have never had even if the car rolled, I did not spill a drop. You know what I mean? When the bar fight broke out, I knew where my drink was. I always know where my drink was. Even now, I know if I have a drink going. Non-alcoholic, of course. I know when I have a drink going. It's just kind of in me, you know? So anyway, there's nothing stranger than a normal person. Normal. We have to stop doing coke now. I have to work in the morning. What? What? We could get something for your TV. Has anybody ever been on carpet patrol? Where are you guys at? There they are. Do you know what carpet patrol is? Yeah, do you? You do? See, now this brings up a point. You might come in here, right? You guys come in here and you might look around and think, wow, you know, these people don't look like alcoholics. If you could see all of us a week before we got sober, you would know. You never know. You'll see some little old lady get up and you'll think, oh my God, here goes 30 minutes of my life. And 2 minutes into her talk, you're like, I could totally roll with Phyllis, man. Phyllis drove her car through someone's living room. The same one twice. You know? Carpet patrol. Who doesn't know what carpet patrol? You don't. Okay, you've been up for 9 days. You're covered in Vaseline, and you're crawling across the carpet. You got a pipe in one hand and a lighter in the other. Have I got it right so far? And you got to stop every once in a while. See, you're looking for these little things in the carpet. Hopefully, you're looking for things like crystal meth, cocaine, maybe some heroin. You're looking for it, but you're not going to find it. It's not there. You're going to be smoking toenails. Now, do you hear the laughter? It's because they did that. You're going to smoke drywall, bagel chips, and you got to stop every once in a while to look at the shadows underneath in the space because they're out there. The apartment building is surrounded by the DEA. Isn't it nice to not have a night like that? Right? Now, there are other forms, that's carpet patrol. There are other forms of carpet patrol, maybe digging through a trash can looking for a bottle with still a little bit of alcohol in it. That's carpet patrol.
What about curtain patrol?
Right? This is not an audience participation meeting. This is one speaker only. But thank you. But yes, carpet patrol, decoding license plates on the freeway, all that. Been there. Man, it's good to be here. Okay, now I'm not going to pass out. I'm here with you. I like how spread out we are. If there were seats in the parking lot, we'd probably be sitting out there too. Yeah. Boy, it's fun to be here, isn't it? I remember coming in here thinking, how could you possibly be laughing? I'm miserable. Right? And then you hear people say, like Alex, I'm a grateful alcoholic. I think, you know what? I'll blow up your car. Let's see how grateful you are. You know, there was nothing funny about being new. It was hard being new. I would see, there's some meetings that only have one door to get into, and there's like greeters on either side, and I'd pull up and think, not tonight. Oh, they're leaving before the miracle. That's it. They're like, fuck this guy, he's too funny. I want a serious talk. I want serious. Anyway. My favorite page in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous is 132. Right in the middle of that page it says, we absolutely insisting There you go. We absolutely insisting on enjoying life. That we think that cheerfulness and laughter are useful. Because if a new person came in here and didn't see us having fun, why would you stay? This goes so far past not drinking. So far past not drinking, right? It's like many of us in here have stopped, right? I'm sure there are many people here that don't have their original sobriety date. And if you're coming in and out, I came here tonight to tell you to not give up, to ask you to not give up, right? Because your speaker tonight is the guy that couldn't get 2 days sober. I would not come to meetings anymore because somebody at the door was going to ask me, how many days do you have now, Danny? And because I couldn't say 2, I wouldn't come in. You know, so let's start at the beginning. I was a gorgeous baby. I was handsome. Isn't it fun? You know, when you hold up a little baby, you know, it's like the 12 steps, right? They don't teach me to be spiritual. If you've ever held a little baby up, you know, that's a perfect little ray of light. You don't hold up a baby and go, now there's a liar right there. I'll turn him to the side. He's going to love Oxycontin. Look at that. Look. No! That's a beautiful, beautiful little ray of light. And I was a beautiful little baby. And then I started being introduced to fear. My first tool, the first thing that I can remember is, this is the wrong earth suit. This is wrong, man. I want out of my body, out of the window, out of the car, out of this relationship. We used to have a Rambler Ambassador station wagon because I'm a little older, and the seat in the back faced this way. And whenever the family had to go anywhere, trust me, that was my seat. They made a movie about it. It's called The Way, Way Back. Perfect seat for me. I want to be away from you. Did you ever see that movie Barfly with Mickey Rourke and Faye Dunaway? And in the movie, you guys are younger, so Google it. There's this great movie about this. It's about Charles Bukowski. Mickey Rourke plays Charles Bukowski, this great poet who loved whores and wine and whiskey. 2 of my favorite things. And not necessarily in that order. And in the movie, Faye Dunaway, they're sitting in this dive bar, and Faye she says to him, people, don't you hate people? And he says, no, but I seem to feel better when they're not around. Right! That's me. I am a people pleaser who hates people. I need you to love me, but stay away. Leave me alone. Don't talk to me. But screw you for not talking to me, right? I want to be invited. I'm not coming to the party, but I want to be invited, right? I ain't coming. If you say to me, Danny, would you like to? The answer is no before you even ask me. No, I ain't coming. But I would like to be asked. And so right away, my first tool for living was I wanted out away from you. Everybody seemed like they knew what to do, and I did not know what to do. My father was a colonel in the Air Force. We had this belt in my family that if you put your hand back there to block the belt, it became the belt buckle. And the belt came with things like, quit your crying, or I'll give you something to cry about. Some people should just not have children, you know? And we moved around a whole lot, and every time we'd move, they'd give you this index card, and the index card said, what do you want to be when you grow up? I never wrote carpet patrol on it. I never said I would like to be on a 5150 having a catheter jammed in me with the cops holding me down because I'm combative. The first question everybody ever asked me from the time I can remember was, what's wrong with you? What's the matter with you? Why do you do that? Right? And I I learned right away that I could make people laugh and I could just perform for them. I didn't know how to be authentic because deep, deep down, I knew that if I was authentic, that I was a piece of crap who didn't deserve to be around other people. I was told, remember, we're the potential people. Remember how you were told all your life, you have so much potential. If only you'd apply yourself. You're the best blah, blah, blah we have here at this company when you show up. You have so much potential. I was potential boy. And when I was 10 years old, I sat behind some drums, and I could play them. And I knew what I wanted to be. I wanted to be the next Steve Ferroni, the next John Bonham, the next Gene Krupa, right? And so we kept moving around. And my second tool for living was I learned that if you hit somebody in the face hard enough, they'll agree with you or leave you alone. And those were the tools that I had for the first 12 years of my life. Run or fight. And when I was 12 years old, we were living in Washington, D.C. I was growing my hair out, smoking Camel cigarette, real cigarettes. What happened to the Marlboro man? He now has a man bun and drives a Prius. Remember the Marlboro man sign on Sunset? Remember, we used to smoke non-filtered Camels, man. We'd roll Lucky Strikes up in our, we were tough guys, right? Smoking Camel cigarettes, and I walk out to this little abandoned baseball field. It's my first drink. This is where Bill starts his story in the book at his first drink. My first drink, I was 12 years old. Standing around, guys are passing this thing around, looked like a cigarette, but they were going. And you want to say, excuse me, what is that? But you can't say that, because then you'll know that I don't know, and you'll laugh at me, and I'll have to murder you. We are a group of people that do not like to be publicly humiliated, right? So they're passing this thing around, and somebody broke out a bottle of Boone's Farm strawberry wine. I know, this is South Bay. There, people are like, oh my, what is that? It's like gasoline. You could put it in a lawnmower and it'll run. As my sponsor would say, no grapes involved, right? Strawberry Boone's Farm wine. I drank the whole, I took it and I just knew to drink the whole thing, right? I drank the whole thing, and that thing happened. That thing happened that book talks about that separates me from the normal person who can leave a half-finished drink. It changed my perception of reality. Suddenly, I was funny, charming. I fit into my earth suit perfectly. I could talk with ease. It changed my perception of reality. Right? And then I threw up. I threw up like that kind of throw up, like my socks were going to come out. But I knew while I was throwing up, if I'm not dead after this, I'm doing this again. I felt like do you remember the first time you took a drink? Do you remember when that thing happened? The first time when you felt okay? Man, it was like I exhaled for the first time in my life. I had been walking around with my fists clenched, waiting to get hit, waiting to be told to leave, waiting to be called stupid. And when I drank that drink, man, everything was okay. Little did I know that I would trade my daughter, my career, my soulmate to capture that feeling again. Look what these people missed by leaving early. I am waxing poetically right now. You know what makes me so fantastic is my humility. I'm kidding. Never leave a meeting if you're new. And you heard Richard, always thank the speaker. Whether you liked what they said or not, you're thanking the podium. You just stand up, say, how you doing, thank you. And even if you're a dude, you can give me a hug. I remember the first time I went to an AA meeting, right? It's always this, I'm skipping around. I went to my first meeting when I was 22 years old. I was living on the streets in San Francisco. I had holes in all my teeth, mats in my hair, right? And we used to have payphones. You guys, we used to have a machine you could call someone collect. And there was a bumper sticker in a payphone in Civic Center Park, and it had a sticker that said, do you have a drinking problem? Call Alcoholics Anonymous. So I called collect, and I was iodine color, right? Because I was a wino. I was living in the street. When all you do is eat and drink wine and live in the street, you've seen the color of a wino. It's almost the color of that chair. It's like a rust color, right? And I called this woman, and all I could say was, I just cried. And I can still remember,
Alcoholics Anonymous, this is Judy.
And she said, I was in Civic Center Park in San Francisco. She said, can you make it to Bush and Cough Street? Now, if you don't know San Francisco, it's 32 blocks or so at an incline like this. Now, I'll roller skate on the 10 freeway in the rain for a drink, right? But to a meeting, I mean, you hear these guys. I sponsor guys, man. I listen to their 4-step, and this guy came down a 19-story building with a plasma TV with one arm to go trade it for a teener. Older people, that's a teener is a 1/16 of an ounce of some kind of a narcotic. A teener. See, this is also an educational talk. That guy will do all of that to get a drink or to get out of right here, right now. But when I say, have you read the doctor's opinion? He's like, dude, bro. Did you go to a meeting tonight?
I don't know, man. The meeting's it's a mile away.
Dude. That brings me back to something. See, it ain't about, maybe you've gone to a meeting and you've talked about things other than alcohol. I mean, when people say I'm an alcoholic and an addict, to me, it just sounds like I'm a carrot and a vegetable. If alcohol isn't a drug, what is it? Right? It's the same thing. Look, it ain't about up or down. It ain't about black tar heroin, Gilby's gin, methamphetamine, Oxycontin, Klonopin, Jack Daniels. It doesn't matter what it is. It's all designed to get me out of right here, right now. Because right here, right now, I'm terrified. I'm a loser. I'm a piece of shit. I'm judging how I feel to how you look, and I'm losing every time. Sorry about my foul language. I will try to curb that. So, anyway, for those of you listening on audio, I'm disrobing now. Yeah, it's about, look, find your way in. Look, if you're new, you got this little beast, this voice. There's this disease of ours. We have the phenomenon of craving that only occurs when we take a drink. Can I get an amen? But I have this bizarre relationship with alcohol. When I'm drinking it, I just get thirstier and thirstier. And every time I think I can drink successfully like you thought you could. But when I'm not drinking it, I also think I can still drink successfully. And I forget about all the terrible things that happen to me. Like on page 24, we are enabled at certain times to bring forth the suffering and the humiliation of just a week or a day ago. I remember getting out of the county jail and going to 6 and Bonnie Bray and putting my hand out of a car for a guy to spit a balloon of heroin into it. And he looked at my arm and it still had the county jail bracelet on. And he went, dude, are you sure? And while I was processing out of there, I thought, I will never, remember sitting there across the table from the one person you had left in your life? While they're looking at you with that look of disgust and disappointment because you did it again when you told them you wouldn't. You remember that? I do. Do you remember that? No? You don't remember that? Okay. Does anybody remember that? Does anybody remember looking at on page 82 it says the alcoholic is like a tornado roaring through the lives of others, right? That I didn't mean to hurt the only person left on this planet that loved me. I meant it with everything in me that I said, I will not do this to you again. I promise I will not lose this job. I will not get evicted from this apartment. I will not cause another fight. I will stay sober. And I meant it. And when it happened, I just didn't understand why the heck is this happening. In the doctor's opinion, it talks about how we have an allergy and that it explained a lot. And what I was talking about is that maybe your thing wasn't alcohol, that you liked, fixing things that ain't broken, tweakers, right? Maybe you like, checking your pulse every hour and burning a cigarette down, right? Maybe you like checking all the way out. Whatever it is, find a way in. Because if you're new, you're going to go to meetings. If you're anything like me, we have this mental obsession. And somewhere in my lineage, we started calling the mental obsession the beast. The beast just sits there talking to you, right? I don't need this. I never did that. I'm not that bad. And my beast is like this little 5'2" hooker. She's got this really cute voice, right? And I remember I'd be sitting up chairs, sitting in my meeting, going in and out, and she'd show up. Danny. Let's go get a Corona. Yeah. Let's go get a Corona. She doesn't mention that after I drink that Corona, it's on. It's on. The job I have, I'm losing it. My kid's not going to see me again, right? I'm going to trade everything I have, including my integrity, self-esteem, the place I have to live, my job, my kid, for the next thing I can get in me so I can get out of right here, right now. Danny. Oh. Page 36. You guys know the story. Jim. Suddenly the thought crossed my mind that a little whiskey in my milk couldn't hurt anything. That's the beast talking to Jim. Jim. Oh. Whiskey in your milk, Jim. 6 lines down. Thus started another trip to the asylum for Jim. You got to think it through. When the beast starts talking to you when you're new, tell somebody. The beast will stop talking if you tell someone. See, I have been separated from alcohol because of the 12 steps. When you're new, you don't have time. You don't have time to go through all that to get separated. So here's how you create that separation. You ready? On page 30 of our book, it says where we learned we had to fully concede to our innermost self that we were alcoholic. If you go down a little bit, it talks about pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization. All the stuff that we did that I said I would never do for a drink. All the things that I did, ripped off people that I loved, hurt people that cared about me. I never wanted to do that, but I did that. So I write down a story. I call it my paid story. Pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization. I write out this story, and I give it a name, right? And the way that I started writing this, I was sponsoring a guy from Fresno. This guy was better looking than Antonio Banderas, man. He looked like Zorro. This guy was a gorgeous dude. And he was a good, hard-working guy, a good father and a husband. But Ernie had a little crack problem. And when he would use crack, and one day it led him to putting a knife up to a guy's, you know those guys that push that little cart for the ice cream? Yeah. This little old man was pushing a cart. And Ernie, in broad daylight, held a knife to his throat to get $50 to go smoke some crack. So he wrote that story out. And Ernie was staying at this place in North Hollywood called Cry Help. It is the last house on the block. It's not like Miracles on a Mansion on a cliff by the sea, right? Where they have the Maharishi doing yoga in the morning and Wolfgang Puck making the midnight snack. You know what I mean? No, this is the last house on the block. And when you're sitting in treatment, and you're sitting in sober living, and your head's just sitting there going, you know what? I don't want to go to group. I don't want to go to that meeting. I'm going to rip off the guy sleeping next to me, and I'm leaving. And we all have plans. Scott Redmond, a great speaker in AA, used to talk about you would make a great pamphlet, Plans of the Newcomer. It would be great reading. We've heard them. We've sponsored them. What? You're moving in with them? Well, I think it's a bad idea. Well, you just met him Tuesday, But, we try. I get distracted. You say that moth. So anyway, where was I? Oh, the story. So Ernie wrote the story out, right? He wrote the story about how he took the knife from his family's kitchen counter, the knife that he had given his wife for Christmas, and went down and robbed this guy. And for 10 years, he couldn't have ice cream with his children without thinking about the eyes of that terrified old man. He couldn't look into the eyes of another older person. He couldn't, every time he walked into his kitchen, he couldn't look at that knife collection without thinking that. Now, that's a good thing. It's a good thing to remember that. So if you're new, right, you write out the story of something that happened to you. So here's how Ernie got separated from alcohol. Every time he would start thinking and having a bad idea, Ernie, let's go get some crack. Yes. Oh, yes. Bad idea, bad idea. Just talking. Mental obsession. Just bad. You guys know what I'm talking about. We've all listened to that bad idea. Let's stop at the liquor store. Let's go to the connection's house and just say hi to his kids. I'm not going to buy anything. I'm just going to say hi to his kids. Okay, I'm just going to go past that one bar and just go past, and then you end up in there by listening to that, right? And so Ernie wrote that story out, and we gave it a name. We called it Ice Cream Man. And every time Ernie thought about leaving Cry Help, not going to a meeting, not doing his commitment, he would just text me the words, Ice Cream Man. And for that one moment, he was separated from the beast. So you can do that if you're new. Write out a story. Don't write it like you're trying to win a Pulitzer Prize. But don't just glaze over it either. Write it out and put the details in there. And then read it to your sponsor or read it to somebody. If you're staying in a sober living and treatment center, if somebody that you confide in, read it to them and have them tell you their story. And then you two guys, whenever some bad idea is going down, you can just say to them, Ice Cream Man, or whatever the name of your story is. And you can have that power, right? Because the beast don't like it when you tell somebody. Beast says, you know all those phone numbers you got in your phone you've been holding on to? Yeah, might be a good idea to get rid of them. You probably have them memorized. So anyway, how much time do I got, bro? I'm already down to 10 minutes?
Maybe you got 11. You're like 15.
15 minutes. So anyway. I guess you could tell that I used to like to drink. When I was 22, I went to a meeting and I went in and out for a couple of years, and I started 8 years of I Sponsor Myself. Right? Perhaps you know this program. No steps, no book, no sponsor. Get to the meeting. Okay. Go ahead, brother. I'll save the good stuff till you get back. I'll lie. Are there any other liars here tonight? I used to lie so much that I have fond memories of things that never even happened to me. You know what I mean? When I was, how I came to California, when I was 19 years old, I heard this is a true part of the story, Rod Stewart was looking for a drummer. If you don't know Rod Stewart, Google it. And so I put all my drums, I had a good alcoholic drum set. None of them matched. That had no cases. They were all different colors. I put them in the bottom of the Greyhound bus where that little door is, and I came out to California to be Rod Stewart's next drummer. True part of the story. And when I got to the bus depot, there was a pawn shop open all night. So all my hopes and dreams went into my left arm. But only in AA do they laugh at that, by the way. We laugh at trauma. But I told so many people that I played drums for Rod Stewart that still to this day, when Hot Legs comes on the radio, I admire my own drumming. And the doctor's opinion talks about it, where I can no longer distinguish what is false and what is real. Because when I got here, I couldn't just walk up to you and go, "Hi, how you doing? I'm Danny." You know, Danny. You know, the guy you wish you never met, the guy you wish you hadn't recommended for a job, the guy you wish you hadn't introduced to all your friends, Danny. Yeah, I have to pretend to be something I'm not. I don't even know who the hell I am anymore. I don't know, right? And so I can't distinguish what is false and what is real because I've been lying about it so much, I never played drums for Rod Stewart, never met the guy. But I told so many people I did, I'm sure people have mentioned my name to him. So, anyway, there I am in AA. I'm not really in AA. I heard it put really well the other night. AA is a book. Did you guys know that we're named after a book? And we just celebrated our 80th anniversary of Dr. Bob's Last Drink. For all of you that are new, he was a doctor who specialized in a proctologist. He knew that happiness was an inside job. Right. And we celebrate AA by Dr. Bob's Last Drink, June 10th, 1935. Sorry, I'm a little scattered. The book. Yeah, we're named after this book. I wasn't in AA. I was going to meetings. If I'm in AA, I'm working the 12 steps. outlined in the big book with a sponsor who's worked the 12 steps. I have a commitment. I'm going to regular meetings. We have so many meetings in LA. You could go to a different meeting every night and nobody will know you. And the whole purpose of having a home group is if you come here every week, people will get to know you. People will notice if you're not here. And having a commitment in AA, having a job doing something so little for something that has given me so much, right? And then, of course, what my sponsor told me, Danny, when you get this thing, recovery from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body, if you don't turn around and give it to another guy, you've been a complete waste of time. So, on my 8th anniversary of I Sponsor Myself, I went to a meeting and told AA, you don't work. I had no idea what AA was. I had never read the book. I never had a sponsor. I challenged all the men in there to a fight. I was one of these big dudes, MMA, boxer dude. Had my Harley parked in the doorway at La Cienega Park on Sunday. So if anybody touched my bike, I would beat them up. I was lost. I was scared. When you meet a dude, you ever see this guy in the back of the room? You know what this means? I could use a hug, Holmes. It means help. It means I don't know how to ask for help. I'm scared. That's what it meant for me. I'm scared. I had no gentle male role model growing up. I have no idea how to be gentle. And I didn't know as a man that I could do that, right? So I went out. And for 15 years, I stayed out. Now, fast forward, I'm not a drummer anymore. I'm a singer. I was in this fantastic band that if it wasn't for alcohol, you would know the band. But I showed up to a very, very big gig on Klonopin in Southern Comfort. Improperly named. No one was ever comfortable when I drank that, Joe. And so anyway, I was a singer at the time. I blew that band. I lost everything. And all I had was 4 things. A red-nosed pit bull named Brooklyn, a guitar, some hand tools, and a Honda Civic with no windshield. I was a catch. And I was living with this girl named Vicky Smart, she's passed away now. God bless Vicky. And I was living with Vicky, and every night Vicky would pull around, and I would drink 10 king-size Coronas, 200 ounces of Corona, take about 20 to 30 Klonopin a day. That's super Valium. And I would smoke a 1/4 ounce of Kush. That's what it took for me to get to zero. That's what it took for me to get my... And about halfway through, every night, Vicky would start her car, come around and go, I'm going to a meeting tonight, Danny. Would you like to go? And I'd say, tell him I said hi. If you're listening on audio, I just held up my middle finger. Because I didn't know how to work a 4-step. If I did, I would have said, Vicky, I can't get in the car with you tonight, for I harbor a resentment to Alcoholics Anonymous. I didn't know how to do that or articulate that or process that. Right? If I knew how to say that, I would have said, Vicky, I can't go with you tonight because I will never know what permanent sobriety is. There's no point. I'm a person that can't stay sober. There's no point. But I just said, what we say when we run out of intelligent things to say. Right? Right? And I judged AA by some of its poor representatives, of which I definitely was one. If you want to judge AA, judge that book. Don't judge the people in the fellowship. Judge this, right? So, Vicky pulled around one night and she said, Danny, if you don't get in the car, you and your dog if you don't get into my car and go to a meeting with me tonight, you and Brooklyn have to live in your Honda Civic. And it was raining. I had no windshield. So I got in the car because I couldn't take care of myself and stand on my own 2 feet. I needed this woman to take care of me. And I went to this meeting and she took me to Rodeo in the 90s. I know Joe was there. Now, I'm not exaggerating. If anybody ever been there? This meeting, 400 to 600 people, all tan in the winter, veneered teeth, Jimmy Choo, Dolce & Gabbana, rock stars, and here I am, Pigpen, with 2 handfuls of loser balloons. There he is, the guy that can't stay sober. That's how I felt every time I walked into a meeting. There he is, the guy that can't stay sober. Nobody's thinking that. Everybody's thinking of themselves. Our problem isn't drugs and alcohol, it's selfish self-centeredness. Clint Hodges, a great speaker in AA, used to say, I'm self-centered. I need to find a new center. Something other than me. Shakes me in this room. I'm sitting way in the back between her and another guy. And this guy, she brought me there because her best friend was Earl H. And Earl H. was throwing down a talk. Look, I mentioned his name and the wind blows. Look at that. Magic. And I don't know, when you're new, all the speakers sound like Charlie Brown's teacher, right? You know what I mean? If I was new, I'd sit way in the back here and I'd know exactly how many lights are in this room. I'd be reading all this music stuff on the wall, right? All that, because I can't. And for the first time ever in a meeting, I had been to thousands of meetings, I never once felt like part of. When they'd say, they'd read the promises, I'd think, oh yeah, let's go pet my unicorn. I will know the meaning of the word serenity and peace. I won't regret the past. Have you seen back there? And for the first time ever, Earl's up there talking, and I heard, maybe. And I said to Vicki, what? She didn't say anything. Maybe. I didn't recognize it was my voice saying something positive. My voice never said anything good about me, you, or anything that was going on. Maybe is a fantastic word. Maybe I can be my kid's dad. Maybe I can stay sober. Maybe it'll matter that I was alive. Maybe is a million miles away from never, can't do it, what's the use? So I asked him, I waited, sat on stage next to Billy Sunshine. You remember Billy? Billy was this guy. Billy was eating an entire bowl of guacamole with his hands. And I was sitting next to him waiting for all the rock stars to say goodnight to Earl, and I was the last guy, and I stuck my hand out and I said, will you sponsor me? And that man never let go of me for 15 years, right? I would go to the county jail, and he would wait in line for 7 hours to see me for a 2-minute visit. When they were taking the catheter out of me at Glendale at Venice, who was there in the doorway? Earl. He didn't tell me about AA. He showed me AA, right? He said, come on, let's go thank the speaker. Let's. He just loved, it was the only thing that was going to work for me was being gentle and kind. I mean, the tiny little bit of kindness around here has the biggest new people, they don't hear what's going on up here. But when you remember their name, wow. Or offer them a seat. Or just be gentle. It sure worked for me. Gentleness worked for me, man. It was so foreign to me. I had no idea that you could be gentle. You know that I didn't know that one of the options in an amends was that you could forgive? I didn't know that you could forgive people. I thought I had to walk the earth for the rest of my life thinking about what tool I will use to smash their head in. I carried a .38 hollow point bullet in my watch pocket. It was for my dad's head. I hated him. He used to beat the crap out of me, right? Beat the crap out of me. What do I got, 5 minutes? How much? 5 minutes. I want to talk about this. Tonight, I don't carry a bullet anymore. I carry the medallion that my sponsor gives me every week. So my biggest resentment, of course, when I remember being at the Rose Bowl, seeing Pink Floyd, and I was like looking at David Gilmour like this. I was in the barricade area. 90,000 people are having a great time, and I'm looking at Nick Mason, the drummer, thinking, if my father hadn't beat the shit out of me, that would have been me. You know what I mean? Everywhere I would go, the beautiful experiences were ruined by anger is punishment that I do to myself because of someone else's behavior. Anger is punishment that I do to myself because of someone else's behavior. And I would punish myself for years. And one time I was talking to this guy, me and him were telling stories about our fathers, how he'd beat us and blah, blah, blah. And this guy said, yeah, but he gave you life. And I told that guy, mind your own business. But I hear things later. And every day I'd be driving, and I kept hearing that voice, yeah, but he gave you life. I found a way out. That was going to be the name of our book, A Way Out. I found a way out. If I was going to blame my father for all the stuff that ever happened to me, every job I lost, every girl I lost, all of that, then why, if I want to, give him credit for the moon that's out tonight, the fact that I can see the ocean, the fact that I can paint and draw, play guitar, sing, play drums, I can give him credit for that. And even though I didn't mean it, for a year, every day, every time something happened, I'd go, thanks, Dad. And one day, without my permission, I realized I had forgiven him. I no longer hated that man. Just by saying, thanks, Dad. Thanks. You know, I'm not trying to, when we forgive somebody, we're not trying to absolve anyone I wasn't trying to absolve him. Of course it's terrible to beat a child, but I need to be free. I need to get out, right? Right? We're going to finish with so obviously Earl kept sponsoring me. I went in and out for 15 years. And on February 18th, 2008, I took my last drink. I stood in front of Earl and said, I can't do this anymore. I'm done. And I joined AA. Right? And so I'd like to finish this talk with the circle and the triangle. Right? You guys have seen it before, right? The circle and triangle. Many of you guys have seen it. Right? It's an ancient symbol, mind, body, and spirit. Therein lies the balance that we seek. We didn't start it. The Freemasons now own it because we never copyrighted it. But in 1955, we took it and it showed up on the dust jacket of the second edition of the Big Book. And we changed the names to, oh, there it is right there. Look, ta-da. I have one tattooed on my thumb. And I meet so many people that are in AA because of that, just by being places, right? So, first side of the triangle is unity. Unity is the body. I bring it to a meeting. We are a bunch of clever people. It's not easy to stay loaded and not have money. It's not easy to stay drunk and like, we are clever people. I'm good at a lot of things. And I'm sure so are you. But when it comes to not taking a drink, I suck. And apparently, so do you. So I come to a room and I sit with other people that put their hand up in the air. The reason we say, my name's blah, 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 I'm an alcoholic, is so that somebody coming in the room that's never said it can have the courage to say it too. You know, you might think it's ridiculous to go, I've stated I'm an alcoholic. Are there any other alcoholic? Why is he asking people? So that somebody else that's never done it before can go, me too. That's the name of the game around here. Me too. Me too. When the bee starts talking to you, telling you, dude, you can't do it, bullshit. Yes, you can. You can do this. Don't give up. So unity's the body. I bring it to a meeting. I come here and I sit here and I listen to people talk about things that I thought only I felt, right? I got to stay stopped. This isn't about stopping. How do I stay stopped? How do I go outside of my house every day without owing an amends to everyone I met? Ta-da! Right? Recovery is the second side of the triangle, right? So I trust God, I clean house, and I help others. Right? That's what I do. And because I've done that, because I've actually done this, a shift has happened. It's amazing how different things can look. Oh, she didn't mean that personally. I always took things personal. But I had a shift. Mostly I had a shift because of the commitments that I had in AA. That was the thing that gave me the biggest shift. For 8 years, every Thursday, I set up chairs. These aren't chairs. These are life preservers, man. These saved my life, right? I've had every commitment that there is. I'm a literature guy at 2 very big meetings. I drive like Joe. We drive places. It takes 11 hours of a day sometimes to give a 45-minute talk, right? Upland on the weekday? Are you kidding? But, dude, I have driven a lot further for less. So recovery's of the mind, right? I work the 12 steps, and because of that, I've had a shift in perception. I view the world differently because I'm no longer coming to a meeting thinking, I hope they have a good speaker tonight. I hope they have good snacks. They have bagels every week. Why don't they get some cookies? When are they going to have some hot guys? Hope the air conditioner's on. I wish they'd get some more comfortable chairs. How about what can I bring to the meeting? I hope there's some new people there that I can talk to. What? Right? So because I've had that shift, now I can close the triangle with the most important side of the triangle, service. And so the way I operate in the world, I'm in AA. AA is what I do between meetings. I'm in AA. When people ask you, what do you do? I say, I'm a recovering alcoholic. because I never know where I can be of service. Maybe that person asking me, right? So I get to be of service. I get to say, how can I help? And I'm a flawed human. I make mistakes all the time. But I'm so thrilled to be a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. Am I down in my 2 minutes? Huh? 1 minute. Whoa, there's someone that didn't like to talk. So, what can I say to a new person except, you know what, man? Just stay and hang on. And if you're looking for a sponsor, look for somebody that's having a great time. Stay away from the miserable people. They're doing it wrong. Thank you.